And now Demin found an avenue and scored.
He had over 100 assists in the NCAA. This Russian has the eye of the gods and passes like he is in another dimension. Egor Demin has been a revelation for BYU, but how did he get to this point, and is he worth the hype? Or is he another college athlete backed by nepotism? The Brooklyn Nets are depending on him, but can he deliver? Is he even good enough? Let us know your thoughts in the comments before we dive in. Today, we're diving into his background, college exploits, why his critics don't rate him as high as his other counterparts, and the NBA pathway of one of this year's top NBA draft picks that has all the tools in his arsenal to make the league his personal playground. Egor Demin's story began in his home country, Russia. He was born on the 3rd of March 2006 to Vladimir Demin. His father had a long professional career in their native Russia and played for the country's national team, and his mother played until she was 18, so it was fitting that he was a constant visitor to basketball games at 2 years old. He grew up in Moscow and attended the Moscow Basketball Academy, also known as the Trenta School, where he trained until 2021. Demin watched as much basketball as he could growing up, but catching the NBA in Russia was difficult. Games were on in the middle of the night, so the best he could do to watch the world's best players was to catch highlights on his way to school in the morning. But his development took a surprise turn. In 6th grade, he switched to online schooling to spend more hours in the gym with his club team. But here's where Demin's development gets really interesting. Instead of dominating kids his age, he was thrown into the fire against players up to 4 years older. The good thing about this strategy was that while other young prospects were relying on superior athleticism to dominate, Demin was developing his basketball brain, learning to anticipate, to see players before they happened, to outsmart rather than outmuscle. His talent attracted offers to play with other teams, including BC Khimki, but he opted to stay at the academy until age 15 to be with his coach, Yevgeny Gorbanov, which was a smart move as it aided his development. Demin made a shocking move that shocked nearly everyone by sending highlight footage to European teams and received 6 offers by 2021. He was considered a top Russian prospect, and Real Madrid came calling, one of the crown jewels of European basketball. There was just one tiny problem. Demin didn't speak a word of Spanish or English for that matter, but when Real Madrid calls, you don't exactly put them on hold. So the teenager packed his bags and moved nearly 2,500 miles from home to a country where he couldn't even order a sandwich. But instead of crumbling, Demin thrived. He returned to traditional schooling, somehow managed to become fluent in both English and Spanish, and started turning heads on the court. When many young players go to a new country and freeze, Egor Demin was not one of those. Playing for the Cadet A team in the Real Madrid Academy, he helped them win the Spanish Cadet Championship in 2022, while averaging 17.3 points and 4.3 rebounds in the tournament. The following 2 seasons, he took his performance to a higher level. He was a member of the Junior A team and the Real Madrid B team in the Liga EBA. Demin helped Real Madrid B to the EuroLeague Basketball Next Generation Tournament Championship in 2023 and scored 10 points in the final, while finishing with averages of 8.5 points and 6.8 rebounds per game. In May 2023, he received a promotion to the main Real Madrid squad and made his debut at the age of 17, playing in just 1 game there. He also helped Real Madrid B return to the Next Generation Tournament and scored double figures in all 4 games, including 26 points and 11 rebounds in the final, an 85-84 overtime win over the French Academy INSEP. Is Egor Demin the best point guard you have ever seen from a foreign league? Let us know your thoughts in the comments and hit that subscribe button for more content like this. After the 2023-24 season, Demin stood at the career crossroads. Option A, accept a promotion to Real Madrid's top team, the traditional European path that had produced NBA stars like Luka Doncic. Option B, roll the dice on American college basketball. And for decades, elite international prospects wouldn't even consider option B. But with NIL money now flowing through college basketball, the 6'9" Russian took a chance that would have been unthinkable just a few years earlier. Now, we have to talk about Kevin Young, the newly appointed head coach at BYU, who had spent the previous 8 seasons as an NBA assistant with the Phoenix Suns. Obviously, Young needed a point guard to run his pro-style offense. And when he saw Demin on film, it was love at first sight. Well, Almost. Young was initially skeptical. When there's a tall kid who can handle and somewhat pass, everyone wants to make someone a point guard, he said. But then Young watched more films and realized this wasn't just another tall kid with decent handles. This boy was a 6'9" basketball powerhouse with court vision that made him grab his phone and start calling NBA connections. During a Zoom call that would change BYU basketball forever, Young showed Joman clips of how he had deployed Kevin Durant and Devin Booker in Phoenix, painting a vision of how the Russian teenager would fit into his system. The result was that the vision impressed Joman. When Joman chose BYU over other suitors like Arkansas and Illinois, he instantly became arguably the most notable prospect ever to commit to the BYU basketball program. However, there were still questions about his prospects. Yeah, the scouting reports were good, but European players are notoriously hard to project. Would his game translate to the American style? Would he look lost against athletic NCAA competition? It took exactly 2 games to get the answer, and it was a resounding yes to the first question. Against Central Arkansas, Joman exploded for 18 points, 11 assists, and 4 steals while shooting 4-7 from three-point land. BYU won by 38 points. But the story wasn't his scoring or his assists. It was the way he played. Joman displayed next-level creativity from a teenager in just his second college game. Over the next 5 games, Joman continued to dazzle. His draft stock soared, with some experts placing him as high as number 4 on their 2025 mock drafts. NBA scouts were practically tripping over each other to get to BYU games, something nobody expected to happen in 2024. One Western Conference executive gushed, "He's a 6'9" point forward who makes all of the other players on his team better. His passing is going to translate to the NBA. There's no doubt about that." Another scout went even further. "I think he'll be an exceptional passer in the NBA. Depending on who he plays with, I think he's a guy who could potentially lead the league in assists." However, a bigger test was to come for Joman that showed he still has a lot to learn. For instance, he faced Providence, a game that would mark a turning point in Joman's freshman campaign. He struggled mightily, which was epitomized by his shooting of 0-10 from the field, and finished with just 3 assists and an 83-64 loss. To make matters worse, Joman suffered a knee injury, a bone contusion that kept him out of action for nearly a month. When he returned on New Year's Eve for BYU's first Big 12 matchup against Arizona State, he wasn't the same player. Though BYU won the game 76-56, Joman shot just 2-8 from the field and turned the ball over 5 times. Since that day, both Joman and BYU struggled to find consistency. The player who looked like a potential top 5 pick early in the season saw his draft stock begin to slip. Was that the end? Was Egor Demin finished? What do you think of Egor so far? Let us know your thoughts below and smash the subscribe button for more baller perspectives. There are players, especially teenagers, who collapse at the sight of the slightest challenge. But that wasn't the case with this big Russian point guard. When he returned, he was everywhere, guarding multiple positions, running the break, dishing with touch, setting screens, reading rotations. He became BYU's connective tissue, and through it all, his game spoke louder than he did. He sees the pass before you see the lane. He anticipates plays before they happen. His frame, long and fluid, lets him make plays few guards can. His basketball IQ exceeds his age, and his character might rate even higher than his game. That might be the most impressive part. This isn't a kid who's been handed anything. He doesn't see himself as a final product. He sees himself as a piece that can fit into any puzzle, a weapon that can be sharpened, a player who can make an impact now while evolving into something even greater. Egor envisions himself being one of the strongest, most complete guards in the league someday. He envisions himself being one of the best defenders in the league. He wants to dominate in every aspect of the game, and he's building the foundation brick by brick. His voice never wavers. You can tell he said this to himself in the mirror, during tough nights in Spain, during quiet days in Utah, during the moments no one sees. He isn't playing for applause. He's playing for meaning. Every conversation with Egor eventually comes back to his family. His father, whose dreams stopped short. His mother, who first planted the seed of seriousness. The weight of their faith propels him to stay the course. Egor Demin was the 8th overall pick in the 2025 NBA draft. His selection by the Brooklyn Nets was met with disapproval by a cross-section of the fans. For these skeptics, his lack of shooting prowess is their biggest turnoff. However, the franchise has something that has them licking their lips: And we're going to point out some of these qualities here. Demin is a 6'9" point forward with some of the best passing skills in the draft. He has the vision, size, and creativity to make almost every type of pass with accuracy and seems to prefer setting up his teammates rather than scoring. While Demin isn't a great jump shooter, he is crafty around the basket and in the mid-range area with fakes and a soft touch. Defensively, he's at his best anticipating the offense, jumping into passing lanes, and using active hands to generate steals and blocks. Demin projects as a floor general at the NBA level, someone who can organize the offense and set up his teammates. How far he can go beyond that will depend on his shooting development. His size will always be an advantage, however, and other players have made it work despite minimal three-point skills. While the records show that in college at BYU, Egor put up an abysmal 27% from the three-point line, mock draft projectors and analysts consistently said one of his biggest knocks was a lack of shooting, but it doesn't match the eye test. When looking at his combine videos and scrimmages, Demin's shooting form is excellent. His shot mechanics are good, and standing at 6'9" with shoes, he should be able to shoot over a lot of defenders. So why was his shooting percentage so bad? At BYU, he didn't get a lot of catch-and-shoot looks. In fact, at BYU, he was often hounded, seeing extreme ball pressure because teams were trying to capitalize on the fact that he was not explosive off the dribble. However, he excelled when it came to catching in shots and wide-open threes off the dribble. Egor had a knee injury in a few weeks into his college campaign, and his shooting splits look completely different before and after that injury. By anyone's eye test, this is a player who can shoot the basketball. Maybe even a good shooter. This carried over to the Summer League. The Nets gave Egor one job during the Summer League, and that was to get the ball up from the three-point line as many times as possible. He had one made two-point basket in the Summer League. When you combine that with his incredible passing that led to 180 assists for BYU, you will have a clear understanding of why the coach and management of the Brooklyn Nets are over the moon with his selection. Did the league sleep on Demin? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section and smash that subscribe button for more content like this. With Demin progressing quite similarly to some of the brightest young stars in the competition, one name comes to mind: Josh Giddey, Chicago Bulls. The biggest Australian name in the NBA at the moment, Giddey is the clearest comparison to Demin, given both players have the same blueprint as talents. Giddey emerged from the NBL from the Next Stars program and was drafted to the Oklahoma City Thunder as the 6th overall pick in the 2021 NBA Draft. He was traded to the Chicago Bulls and has been playing at an all-star level throughout 2025. Making the leap to stardom over the past few months. Like Giddey, Demin is a tall point guard with incredible vision and makes life a lot easier for his teammates. Although the Aussie is certainly quicker with and without the ball, Demin is a better shooter than Giddey was when he entered the NBA, and the fact that the latter was able to improve this side of his game extremely fast bodes well for the Russian prospect. Egor Demin was the 8th overall pick by the Brooklyn Nets in the 2025 NBA Draft, but his position may not reflect his talents or what he will bring to the New Yorkers. He is an elite passer, a defensive monster, and from the eye test, a capable shooter. Most importantly, he's willing to do what is necessary to take his game to the next level, a key characteristic that is often lost on this generation. Now, it is left for the Brooklyn Nets to maximize his talents and take themselves to the highest ranked position possible next season. Do you think Demin will take the Nets to the playoffs at least in his debut season? Or is the franchise taking a massive risk? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe to Ballerspectives, and stay tuned for more deep dives like this one. We will see you in the next one.